Gilmore 2, the long-awaited sequel to the 1996 Adam Sandler classic comedy, finally hits Netflix. And was it worth the wait to make a sequel to Happy Gilmore? Honestly, probably not. This is a movie, just like a lot of comedies where they wait so many years after the fact to do a sequel that maybe just shouldn't have happened. Not to say this movie's necessarily all that bad, but it's not really all that good either. It's a typical Adam Sandler Netflix comedy. He's done a lot of these since he's been signing these deals with Netflix, and unfortunately none of them have been overly great. He's done a couple movies here and there that have been, fine, or on the dramatic side, been actually pretty solid. But when it comes to the comedies on Netflix, they just haven't been up to par. And Happy Gilmore 2 just kind of fits somewhere right in the middle. The biggest problem with this movie is the constant callbacks, the flashbacks. Like, they show literal footage from the first movie over and over again, to the point where this movie's almost 2 hours long, and it should not be almost 2 hours long. They could have cut a lot of these flashbacks out. It would have made the movie run a lot smoother and not be nearly as long, because there's no reason it should be almost 2 hours long. But then you also have, obviously you have characters come back from the first movie, but then you have like the children of characters from the previous movie, because there are a lot of actors who unfortunately passed away since the release of the first one. So you have people showing up as their children just to do a lot of the same jokes and things like that. And that's fine. Like, obviously sequels and things like that are gonna have callbacks to the first movie, but this movie just feels like that's all it is for the most part. Like, it's just so many references to the first movie. We get it. Like, the first movie's great. I love the first Happy Gilmore. It's one of my favorite comedies, arguably Sandler's best comedy, at least top 3 for sure. This just, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like a little too late, because the story that they throw in here is just utterly terrible. Within the first 5 minutes, they make a terrible decision moving forward with the rest of the movie. And this movie has a lot of dumb humor. The first one did too, but this one just feels like it's taking the dumb stuff and ramping it up even more, to a point where it's like, hey, we want to be really dumb for no reason. And you can't do that and then also just do all these callbacks to the first movie, because now you're just making the movie not all that worthwhile. But that's not to say that I didn't, enjoy parts of it. I did, like seeing Sandler step back into this role. It's a role that I think he does enjoy. He does seem like he's somewhat interested in the role throughout the movie. A lot of these Netflix movies, it feels like he's just sleepwalking through them. He's getting a paycheck. He's hanging out with his friends and things like that. And, that's fine. That's cool. But at the end of the day, put a little effort into some of these, because, that's what you're there for. That's why we're watching them. This movie has no shortage of cameos. My God, the cameos in this movie are outrageous. From professional golfers to singers to rappers to football players to, other well-known actors. There's so many people that just pop up in this movie randomly. And that's a lot of the jokes. It's just, here's a new cameo. Here's their time to do their thing. Okay, now we're going to go to the next scene. Hey, there's that cameo. They're going to do their thing. Now we're going to move to the next scene, and so on and so forth. So work in that with all the flashbacks and references to the first movie, and there's your movie. It's cool seeing Christopher McDonald come back as Shooter McGavin. You have Julie Bowen coming back as Virginia, which is great to see, even though she's not in the movie a ton. Ben Stiller shows up as his character. And then you have a lot of people, like I said, showing up as like various relatives of the people from the first movie, because obviously like Carl Weathers, Joe Flaherty, the lady that played the grandmother, they have all since passed away. And, it's cool to give like reference to the characters and stuff, but you got to do a little bit more than what they just throw out here. You're going to get some chuckles and things like that, but there's not a whole lot of real big belly laughs. There would be something every once in a while that would catch me off guard, that would give me a decent laugh here and there. But I've seen the first Happy Gilmore, several times in my life, and there's jokes in that movie I still see, watching it now, and still crack up the same way I did when I first saw it. This is a movie that I don't think I'm going to feel the same way about. Overall, I'm kind of in between. I would give this movie either about a C or a C+. I might be leaning a little more towards a C+, just because, it's a little bit of a nostalgic feeling for that first movie. That's about it for me, guys. If you've had the opportunity to watch Happy Gilmore 2, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more reviews, rankings, all kinds of good stuff. I'll leave all my links down below on where you can follow me and check out more of my reviews. And until next time, I'll catch you all later.